Let's go and talk about some easy ways to be able to deal with fractions when we're trying to solve linear equations. Now, I'm just going to focus on two-step equations for this video, but guess what? The ways that I'm approaching fractions can be used for multi-step equations, rational equations, and even other types of functions. So let's go and explore how fractions can show up on our equations and how we can go ahead and deal with them. So the first one, I have x divided by 3 plus 7 over 3 equals negative 11 over 3. Now, one thing that's really important for you to understand is when you have an equation and all the denominators are exactly the same, ladies and gentlemen, you don't need to worry about those denominators. You can just set your numerators equal, and you can just go and solve via the numerators. Now, the reason why this works is let's go and take a look at an equation. If I had like 4 equals 4, or if I had like x is equal to 8. Now, remember, as long as you do the same operation to both sides, you're not changing the equation, right? I could add a 1 to both sides, and that would get 5 equals 5. Or I could divide by a 2 on both sides, and again, this equation is still going to be true, like 2 is equal to 2. In the same respect over here, if I had x equals 2 divided by 8, x divided by 2, and 8 divided by 2, like to solve this, we know like you can multiply by 2 on both sides to undo your denominators, and still x is going to equal 8. So in this example, we don't need to get rid of our fractions because when all our terms are divided by the same number, we can just focus on the numerators. Now, this is a tip that I actually like to teach for students when we're solving rational equations, something that's a little bit later on, is we like to create all of our fractions that have the same denominator. And the reason why that's important is because then I can just focus on solving the numerators. So again, the first tip is when you see all of your denominators are exactly the same, boom, get rid of it. Just focus on solving your numerators. All right, the next tip is going to be using actually our inverse operations. So in this case, I have x plus 7 divided by 3 is equal to negative 11. I'm keeping the numbers simple here. Now, the problem with this one, and the reason why a lot of students would actually get confused on a problem like this, is because when we teach solving linear equations, we talk about using the reverse order of operations. Always undo addition and subtraction before you undo multiplication and division. So a lot of students would say, well, I have to subtract the 7 before I can undo this dividing by 3. The problem is that is actually not a 7. This 3 is divided into the x as well as being divided into the 7. So actually what this is actually a 7 divided by 3. And the other way that we can look at this, which I'm not going to solve it this way, but you can understand, to better understand it, this is really, what did I write a 7? This is really x divided by 3, and a 7 divided by 3 is equal to negative 11. Now, if this kind of makes your brain want to explode because you're like, way too many fractions, don't worry. I got an easy way that we can go ahead and approach this. But the other thing too, is even though these two denominators are the same, we can't approach them the way we did up here because look at 11 does not have a denominator of 3. Okay, so don't fall in that trap and then just get out your denominators. It doesn't work in this problem. So what do we want to do? Well, whenever we have an expression that is going to be divided by this term, right, we want to get rid of this, right? We want to undo this dividing by 3. We have to undo this dividing by 3 before we can undo the operations of where my x is, which is in the numerator. Because when you have a fraction for solving equations, that's actually a grouping symbol, your numerator and your denominator. So we have to undo division. So how do we undo division? To undo division, we have to apply our inverse operation, which is going to be multiplication. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by a 3 on both sides. Now, what do we know about? And again, going back to my operations on both sides, if you divide a 2 on both sides or multiply a 3 on both sides, the equation is still remaining the same, right? But what happens when I have a 3 times this expression? And again, that's 3 over 1. And then over here, I have this negative 11 times 3. Well, here, you can multiply this 3, but you can see it's multiply 3 divided by 3. Again, inverse operations, they're going to undo each other, going to divide to 1. So in this case, I'm just going to be left with a x plus 7. And then over here, negative 11 times 3 is just going to be a negative 33. Then I can just go ahead and subtract a 7 on both sides, and I get x is equal to a negative 40. Now you can see problems look very similar, but the answer is not the same. Hey, why didn't I solve this? What am I doing? So subtract a 7 on both sides. X equals, you owe me $11. You borrow 7 more. That's a negative 18. Okay. The last tip, or the last one that we can look at, and that is going to be, what about if we have something like this? X over 3 plus 7 equals a negative 11. Now, in this case, my 7 is not being impacted by this 3. So you can go ahead and subtract the 7 over to the other side. And that's something I would usually tell my students to go and do. So I have x divided by 3 is equal to a negative 18, right? You owe me $11, you borrow 7 more. Now, I don't know what it is about fractions, ladies and gentlemen, but sometimes students just have a hard time using the inverse operations with division. And even though they know it's multiplication, this problem like this can get confusing for them. And when they're problem like this, they still like, I don't know, do I divide on 3 on both sides? Like the understanding of using multiplication to counteract the division, it gets confusing and students make mistakes. So the last tip that I want you to understand is you can also think about this as a multiplication. Instead of x divided by 3, I can rewrite this as a 1/3 times x equals a negative 18, right? Because wouldn't you agree, my x here is like kind of x over 1. So 1 times x, 3 times 1, right? So let's write it like this. So x over 3 is the same thing as a 1/3 times an x over 1, right? Because if you were to multiply those back over, you'd have a 1 times x, which I ran out of space. Sorry about that. There you go. All right. You'd have a 1 over x times a 3 times 1. Why am I? Oh, that equal. Oh, I see what I did. That's supposed to be an equals. Right? And 1 times x is going to be x, and 3 times 1 is going to be 3. So you guys can see that it's x over 3. Now, why in the world would I rewrite this as a fraction rather than divided by 3? Well, again, if you don't struggle with this division property, then you'll probably be fine. You don't need to worry about it. But the reason why I like to sometimes deal fractions or to help bring down this point to students is they understand that a number multiplied by its reciprocal is going to equal to 1. They understand if I have a and I multiply that by 1 over a, I'm going to get 1. If I have a over b and I multiply that by b over a, it's going to get a over b times b over a, which is again is going to equal to a 1. And they know how to find the reciprocal. If I give them 7, they know the reciprocal is going to be a 1 over 7. If I give them a 2/3, they know the reciprocal is going to be a 3 over 2. It's kind of easy for students to, I don't know, remember. I don't know if it's because they just learned it and it's something that's easier to stick. And the point that I'm trying to get to is for every one of these problems, we got a x equals negative 40, x equals negative 18. So the important thing is my x is isolated. And what I mean by the x is isolated is it has a 1 as its coefficient, right? And it's that 1 as its coefficient, we don't even write it in there because 1 times x is still x. So in this example, if I have a 1/3 times x is equal to negative 18, I want to multiply this by the reciprocal. Now, what is the reciprocal of 1/3? And again, students, I don't know, they sometimes just feel more comfortable finding the reciprocal of a fraction than it is trying to doing the division. Well, the reciprocal is going to be a 3 over 1, which is also known as 3, right? So I multiply by 3 over 1. And again, just remember negative 18 can be written over 1, so you don't really need to write it. So x is now going to equal, let's see, negative 18 times 3, that's going to be a 36, that's going to be a negative 54. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is how I like to teach my students to deal with fractions. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. If you have some other tips that you'd like to add, feel free to add them into the comments down below. And if you'd like some more examples of me working through solving linear equations or just tips in general, then check out the next video I have for you here. Cheers.